Hello and welcome to Trinity Talk Live, water cooler conversation from a Christian perspective. I am Ken Coughlin. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to be doing today what we've been doing for at least once every month since about September, and that's featuring one of our ministry teams here at Trinity. Every month, we've taken at least one of our episodes to talk a little bit about one of the teams here at ministry, both to let people know what our teams do and to talk about the importance of that type of ministry itself. We've done them on, for example, on evangelism, we've done women's ministry, we've done music, we've done a whole bunch so far. But this month, we're going to be focusing on men's ministry. So we have some of the gurus of men's ministry next to me, two gentlemen that have been on the show multiple times before. They're familiar faces. But just in case anybody here doesn't remember who you are, which would be shocking, let me tell you. But if you don't mind, go ahead and just tell who you are and one interesting tidbit about yourself.
I'll start. I'm Mark Koger. I'm the operations director here at Trinity.
And that's the amazing thing. Okay, I got to stop you right there.
Okay, go ahead.
You know what's amazing about that? This might be the first time you've come on 2 episodes in a row and your job title hasn't changed.
You know, I think you're right. You're exactly right. It did stay the same this time.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
That's okay. But just to share something with you real quick, I've been a member for close to 25 years and just seem to just be a part of this ministry here, and I love it. It's great.
And who are you?
I forgot. Bill Schaefer, and I am the men's ministry leader here. And so I kind of lead the men's ministry. Come
Good thing the title matches what you're doing.
Come up with ideas, to further our ministry here at Trinity. And, I've been here for about a little over 20 years and been involved with the men's ministry for about that long. Right? So
you guys realized this is a reunion. We did ironically, the last episode was about men too. Wasn't about what it means to be a man of God. This was almost a year and a half ago.
That was. That's
it was
right.
the three of us.
You're right.
Back when we were still filming up in the Heritage Hall.
Yesterday.
Yep.
Wow. Well, no pressure, but actually, again, judging by the viewership we were getting at the time, that was one of the more popular episodes we had at that time frame. So, I
just being nice.
Just bring it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, speaking of bringing it, let's talk about men's ministry, shall we? So, what I want to start out with is a little bit about, why men's ministry is important. And we talked about this a little bit before we went on camera, but obviously, any church, if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, is doing ministry in some way, shape, or form. So, what exactly is men's ministry? Are you ministering? Is it ministering to men, or is it men ministering? Oh, see how I did? That's kind of like this is like chicken and the egg kind of stuff there. Is it ministering to men or men ministering to others? I guess you could say, or both. And why is it important? Why is it important to have a ministry that's specifically dedicated to men? Right. Throw it out there. Whoever wants to start, go for it.
Okay, so my thoughts on this is that one, men are involved with so many things. And if they come to church, they get involved with, the things that need to be done because they're the hands-on type of person. But they also need to be discipled. And so men need a vehicle through the church, the ministries of the church, a vehicle for themselves so they can be discipled and so that they can learn more about Jesus himself, learn to be together with other Christian men and grow their faith that way.
Yep. It's tapping into how that's done is key, I think. Of course, we know it's no strange thing that men and women are different. Women have a different way of getting together and doing different events and things. Men are a little more stubborn at times about getting together and just trying to do different things. So, it's challenging as leaders of the men's ministry team, but our goal is to find things that work for men to come together and be able to share in their faith.
Let me ask you this about men in general. I know it's true of me, and I assume it's true of a lot of men out there. You talk about, men needing to have a vehicle where they can come and they can be ministered to. Do you ever have a problem when you've got men, just trying to get men involved in ministry? I know for once, especially if you ask my wife, I have a hard time sometimes. I feel like I want to do it myself. It's like I don't want somebody else, telling me what to do. There's this perception of masculinity in our culture today of being completely self-sufficient. You know, you're the leader. You're the one that can do it all yourself. You don't need to ask for directions, even if you've been lost for the past 2 hours. You know, so does that create an obstacle at all with sometimes with men having the humility, not just to kind of surrender themselves to God, but to be willing to open up to someone else, another man? Or maybe there's some pride getting in the way.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's why I ask them.
Yeah, I know.
It's beautiful to be the one asking the questions, not have to answer them.
So men, yes, they are more of the animal, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you think of Adam, Adam being the man, he was the hunter.
Did exactly what the woman told him to do.
The hunt, yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
He did.
But he was the hunter seeker. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was the one out there, providing for the family. When you think of Eve, yeah, Lord said, since I'm kicking you out of the garden, now your pain's going to be greater, when you have, kids. But the focus of men should be that we need each other as well. Because just like women get into a women's ministry group or, a small group with their women, they used to call them Dorcas circles around here. Men need that too, because whether they realize it or not, if they don't have someone that they can be accountable to or talk with, they hold all that inside. And if they hold it inside, they're going to vent eventually. And sometimes that venting, causes more problems than if they had somebody that they could vent with or to.
Yeah. The goal, of course, I think, is to make strong spiritual leaders. And we talked about this at the last Trinity talk that we were involved with from Men of God. These men have to have an outlet to be able to share their feelings and their faith with others so that they can become stronger, so they can be good spiritual leaders within their family, within their community, and within the church. So it's a good opportunity for all these men to be able to get together, as Bill said, vent on one another and help support each other in ways that maybe others couldn't do that. But as men together collectively, under God's eyes in this case, it's an opportunity for us to really be good companions in that regard.
So how do you go about doing that? And I guess this is where you can kind of shift focus a little bit into some of the things that we either do or have done here at Trinity in the men's ministry. How do you create that kind of environment where A, you're ministering to men, and B, just trying to make it comfortable for men to realize that this is, I hate to use the term safe space, but it's a safe environment for them to kind of set down the cultural masculinity and open up and be vulnerable.
Sure. So one of the ways, we used to do a monthly men's breakfast. We pushed it to quarterly just because attendance and, we understand people get busy. But what we do is at least provide a place for them to come once a month or once a quarter where they can actually, fellowship with other men, eat a good breakfast, maybe have a Bible study. Sometimes we do have a speaker. And we had every once in a while you get a great turnout. Like when we had one of our men who had passed on, went to be with the Lord, we had a breakfast in his honor. And we dedicated a brick out there at the Memorial Brick Garden. And then, when Pastor Jay came on board, we did a special breakfast where he came, and it was a meet and greet. Of course, we had a big crowd. Sometimes we have to, we just do a Bible study. But in any case, it's a place where men can come and have a good meal, share with each other, talk to each other, and just meet other men in the congregation that are probably doing some things or similar things that they're doing. And they can gather and just talk and vent, right? And be there for each other.
Mm-hmm. And I know Bill's going to touch on this in a little while, but something I always look forward to each year is the retreat. It's an awesome time when many of us get together. We just have so much fun. It's off-site. It's like a mini vacation because you're away from, family life at home, work life, and you just are able to really just carry on and have a good time with these guys. And everybody seems to loosen up, and on the other side of it, they open up at the same time. So it's really a great opportunity.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 20 years.
Wow.
Started back when Pastor Paul came back to the church. And the first thing he said, he called me in his office. He said, "Bill, I need you to put together something for me." And okay, and gave me some details and what he was looking for, and that's where it started. And we've been going pretty good. We have some lean years. We do have some years that guys don't show up or are busy. This year we're hoping to get 40. We still got some open spots, by the way.
Want to make your sales pitch now?
Yeah.
If somebody wants to come to the retreat,
if you want to come to the retreat, men, and if you got a young man in your family, it's 16 to 17 years old, or 16 or older, bring him too. The cost is $189. It's good for the 2 evenings or 2 nights overnight stay at Sandy Cove, nice little ministry place. And the food, we have 3 meals that we're provided for. And then the program itself.
May 3rd through 5th, am I right?
May 3rd through the 5th this year. And we got 2 of our pastors are going, and hopefully our music leader. Do you hear that, Ryan?
Ryan doesn't watch the show unless he's on it.
Yeah.
Of course.
But anyway, we have both of our pastors going. We actually got a substitute pastor for that weekend here, so people can still celebrate worship here as well.
Excellent. If you have any more questions about it, I'm going to put Bill's email address on the screen
Yep.
so that you can get in touch with him if you have any questions about it or anything. Let me ask you about that a little bit more, though. And I mean, not necessarily at this point, just I don't want to make it sound like a commercial for the retreat, but that's one of those things where people, whether they're here at Trinity or other churches, have probably heard that term retreat before, the church retreat, and wondering, other than just going away and spending the night somewhere else, what do? You guys have talked me into coming. This is my first year going on the men's retreat. I will be there. I was one of the earliest ones to pay for it. Thank you very much. I'm good. I'm committed. It's on my calendar. What should I expect?
Well, this year is going to be a little bit different than the past years.
I missed the fun stuff.
You missed. Well, no, actually, you're getting into more of the fun stuff.
Cool.
So, in previous years, basically, we set up a program. Usually, at some point when we're planning for a retreat, the Lord gives me a theme, and so I put it out there to the pastor who is usually helping me out with it. And says, "Okay, go with it," and then we go with it. And we run a few sessions, and people sit there, and we do some small group stuff and all that. And we do have some fun things going on after the fact, but it's mostly a place where the men can come and just get away from their normal routine, get away from the cell phones. Even though we know that people need cell phones to keep in contact, but encourage them not to use them during the session times. This year it's a little bit different. It's the 20th anniversary. Like I said, we're focusing on 10 steps to what it means to be a Christian. That's focusing on the 10 Commandments. We're doing our sessions, all 10 Commandments, starting at the 10th one first, and working our way up to Pastor Chuck doing a special little thing for us at the worship, and that's going to be a surprise for everybody.
Are we going to do this like the old David Letterman top 10 list kind of thing? Or?
So we're going to do the 10 Commandments. We're going to break them down a little bit, but our sessions are only going to be about 5 to 6 minutes long, maybe. It depends on how much people talk. But then we're going to have a tournament. Cornhole tournament that we're going to do with
I am going to be awful at that.
Yeah. We're going to set up a thing for prayer partners, so the guys can have a prayer partner for at least 30 days. And then we have one of our guys is lined up to get us to a gun range that's close by. Men can go out to the gun range and shoot some ammo. So it'll be a pretty good thing for men to do. And other than that, we're going to just have a good time. We do have a race set up for Saturday night.
What kind of race?
Modified 5K. You can
modified by its 5 meters.
Well, you can
Exactly.
Well, you can do one of a couple things. You can just meet us at the fire ring. That's going to be the finish line. You can participate by running in it, or you can participate by walking in it, or you can just participate by being along the path and just, cheering guys on. So it's going to be a really fun time, and that's what we're targeting, is just to have some fun, get men away, and that's why we called it the weekend getaway this time instead of the retreat.
Absolutely. I'll just add two things real quick. I know Bill forgot this, but this is pretty important. Friday night, many of us gather before everything starts and go out to dinner.
Yeah.
To a nice restaurant. We have a blast. We all sit and take up a big room, and we just have a great dinner. And then the grounds themselves there at Sandy Cove are just absolutely beautiful. I mean, you're right on the water.
Yep.
If you get a little bit of a break and you want to go and meditate a little bit on your own, that's not a problem. You can do that. And you'd be surprised how God works through you just having that little bit of time sometimes, just secluded in a way. So it's really going to be a great event.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. We were talking earlier about, ways you can break through, or, you talk about these fellowship events to help men gather, to kind of realize that, there's community here, there's safety here. I don't know how much we do here at Trinity, and again, admittedly, I'm not as tapped into the men's ministry as I should be, and I know, but you and I have talked about this before, Bill, where I'm trying to be more committed to coming to more of these events. But I wonder if one other way that we can really try to get men to get invested in other men is not just by, fellowshipping together, but serving together. And I don't know if we've done anything like that, or what we do with service opportunities where men go out together to serve someone else.
Well, we do. And I think I'd rather put it out this way. We encourage men to get involved with all the service projects. So most of it involves ladies of the congregation. Some of it involves youth of the congregation. And men are out there serving this congregation in all the ministry aspects. We do not really plan a ministry event where, we're doing a service project and it's just geared to men, because we serve the whole community. Women and men and children and youth. For instance, the mission team, the adult mission team, it's a mixture of men and women. Yes, it's mostly men, but, there's still women there with us, and we do but we serve the community here as well as the community in other areas of the country.
What type of things does the adult mission team do?
A lot of building. So we got a lot of men that have a lot of construction experience, and when we incorporate as an adult mission trip, the team members that are ladies maybe don't have that kind of experience, then it's a teaching moment for them. A lot of them walked away learning how to do sheetrock and how to do some electrical work. Actually, I do have a good partner when I go usually that helps me with electrical stuff. And she's fantastic, so.
Yeah, because it just occurs to me that one of the strongest ways we can bond is through serving others and getting involved. That's why you always see, mission trips. People talk about they go away on a mission trip, and when they come back, there's a bond there. There's something they've been through this experience together. So we'll close out because we don't have a lot of time left here. But we obviously are blessed here at Trinity in the sense that we're a reasonably large congregation. I had somebody come in once and say, "Wow, Trinity's a megachurch." No, we're not a megachurch. There's actually a pretty agreed upon definition of that, and we're not it. Not even really all that close, but we're a good sizable congregation. And even in our case, with a congregation this side, like Bill, you were saying, you were trying to have the monthly men's breakfast, and it didn't work because even then you're having attendance matters issues. And it occurs to me that if you've got somebody out there who's in a much smaller congregation, they're going to have even more issues because they don't have as many men to draw from. So if you had to talk to somebody who's coming from a smaller congregation, all right, and they're trying to promote some type of ministry within the men of their congregation, and where would you tell them to start? You understand, okay, they're not going to be able to do necessarily everything. They're not going to have this 40-member retreat and all of this. If they had to start small with one small thing, what would you say is the most important aspect or thing that someone could do to try to start fostering that sense of, that bond between men within their congregation?
So,
Go ahead.
So I think, when I first came here, and this church was a big church, but not real big, okay? They always had the monthly men's breakfast. And that's one small place that you can go where men can come, get together, and meet each other and learn about each other. And that was a good thing. And what that did was that brought everybody into serving in other areas of the church. Because if I went on went and came, or if I came to do some gardening or something, whatever, but I don't do that. It was other men there that I could associate with that were at the breakfast as well. Mm-hmm. And so I knew them, and there is where you start growing the ministry. But you need at least one step like that,
something like
to get that started, where they fellowship first and get to know each other, and then they can serve together.
And hopefully you can evolve to something that actually I don't think we've touched on. I know we're like kind of out of time, but I want to make sure we mention it. Is that the prayer meetings that you have?
Yeah, we do a prayer team every Saturday morning, and that prayer team's only about 2 of us. But God says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, and we do. We gather in the name of the Lord. We do have devotion. Every once in a while, Pastor Chuck shows up when he can. We have 1 or 2 other guys that'll show up occasionally, and that's okay. But I'm here. I come anyway, so I'm here, and whoever shows up, shows up.
That's a very personal thing. There's something about being very vulnerable with praying with someone else.
Yep.
And that I think that's great, and that's something where. Maybe that's not something you can start with if it's the first thing, because maybe the men might not be so comfortable doing that.
I found that most churches, if they want to start a men's ministry, and they don't have one right now, or they don't have a viable one, start off with that Saturday morning men's breakfast. They can do it once a month or once a quarter, but I think that actually just pushes them into doing other things with the men.
Yeah, it starts with the relationships.
If
you can start to bond and just create relationships, not tied to anything specific, just really try to get them tied to that, it'll grow. Things happen.
And the advantage of doing it at breakfast is bacon is a natural breakfast food, and if you serve bacon, they will come. That's my experience.
Absolutely.
If you don't believe us, ask Pastor Jay. He'll tell you.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us today. Hey, if you did like this episode, do me a favor. Go ahead and click the like button. That's a thumbs up button right here on the YouTube page. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on this show and a lot of other shows that we've got here on the channel. And share this video. You know what? I got to say, part of me is kind of wondering what the viewership's going to be like on this one, because men, I don't think necessarily watch these talk shows as much as women do, but it's important that they do. And so if there's a man in your life, if you are a man, you got some friends you want to share this with, to tell them a little bit more about the importance of men's ministry and what it can mean to you and to them, please share this video and let them know about it. Hey, give us a like on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page, it's called Trinity Joppa Channel. We post a little behind-the-scenes things on there. We tell you about what's coming up in future episodes. And it's a way for you to give us feedback about what you'd like to see in future episodes as well. Next week, I'm trying to keep track because we are filming these things. We're all out of whack. We're filming this on a Sunday and it's not airing for like a week and a half or something like that. So I'm all confused about what next week is. But I think next week is Ben and I. Is that right? Yes, next week, Ben Lander, who's never been on the show before, is coming on, and we're going to be talking about, he and I did an episode back in October about should Christians celebrate Halloween. We figured, you know what, this show's been airing for over a year and a half now, let's go ahead and get controversial. So we did, and we did the episode. That's one of those things that it's kind of a hot topic in Christianity, and so we're tackling another one, and we're doing how should Christians celebrate Easter. Not should Christians celebrate Easter, I think we all agree we should, but how? Because there's certainly a lot of debate about that as far as, whether we should be engaging in the Easter bunny, the baskets, the eggs, whether we should even call it Easter or Resurrection Day or things like that. And so Ben Lander and I are going to tackle that subject next week. If either one of you guys wants to come on and be the sacrificial victim on that one as well, I'd appreciate it. So anyway, thank you guys very much for coming on. I appreciate it. It was a good episode. And thank you all for watching. God bless.
In your word we will follow.
Hey, if you haven't joined our Patreon yet, would you mind giving it your prayerful consideration? Patreon is a way you can support the Trinity Joppa YouTube channel. We've got multiple tiers to choose from, starting as low as $2 per month. Visit www.patreon.com/TrinityJoppa for all the details. Thank you. God bless.